And we are here on a Game Time Sports Network baseball special. We have two new guests joining me. We have Chris Della Piana and Dom deBernardo.
How's it going?
So today we'll be doing some baseball talk, little off-season recap, even though it's not completely over, but we're heading into the new year, getting a nice baseball show out. Something we don't really get into that much on the regular podcast, too much in depth, but we're out here, got some great baseball minds, so we're going to have a nice debate. So to start off, we're going to give our top 10 players in the MLB today. So start off with that.
Joe, you want to start?
Yeah. Do you want to go? I'll give my number one, you give your number one, you give your number one, or should we just rattle off our whole list?
I like the 1-1-1 idea.
Yeah, we should do the 1-1-1.
I want to go. Let's go in reverse order.
Ooh, starting at 10. Mixing it up a little bit.
Starting at 10, I have Tigers first baseman, hitting extraordinaire, Miguel Cabrera.
All right. I've got Francisco Lindor, the young, dynamic shortstop of the defending AL champs, the Cleveland Indians.
I have the should-have-been AL MVP, Mookie Betts.
Ooh.
No bias.
No bias at all. That's why he's 10. Still should have won MVP.
At number 9, I have the best postseason pitcher of our generation. I would say single-handedly
David
won.
Price?
Oh, you got me. Single-handedly won the San Francisco Giants a World Series. I have Madison Bumgarner.
I went with Miguel Cabrera there for my number 9.
I went with Jose Altuve at number 9.
Oh, it's a little low. At my number 8, I have guy Chris already mentioned, Mookie Betts. Not completely sold, but I mean, after the season he just had, how can you not have him in your top 10?
Completely
He
sold.
did have a great season, but I have at my number 8, Nolan Arenado. The guy, despite playing at Coors Field, is still a stud. I think would be an MVP candidate on any team. So,
Fair point there. I have two guys that are, well, I have a guy formerly mentioned by Joe, Miguel Cabrera at number 8. As he said, hitting extraordinaire. Real once-in-a-generation kind of talent.
Oh, absolutely. Triple Crown winner. Really just unbelievable. At number 7, I have Toronto Blue Jays third baseman Josh Donaldson. 2015 AL MVP. Really angry at Ben Sherrington. Might not have been his call, but definitely ownership deciding to bring in Pablo Sandoval because, after the World Series he had, it's a persona where Donaldson, solid player in Oakland, really broke out of his shell in Toronto, but they got him for Brett Lowry and some other
Kendall Graveman.
Yeah, something ridiculous. So
Real steal right there.
Yeah. So Josh Donaldson at 7.
Yep, I love Josh Donaldson. The guy can play ball, and I have him at number 7 as well.
I mixed it up. I put Nolan Arenado at 7.
Oh.
But Donaldson's right around the corner at 6. So there's that.
Oh, little plug. At number 6, I have Astros second baseman Jose Altuve. Complete player, hard over height, kind of like Isaiah Thomas of the Boston Celtics. Excellent player, can really do it all. Really showed very good power for a guy who's 5'5".
Yeah.
So I'm really impressed with him.
Also has, like a 300-foot left field?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Best second baseman in the game. Number 6, I have Chris Bryant, another third baseman for the Cubs. The year he just had they would not have made the World Series without him, I think, despite the rest of the team still being loaded. But I think he's the guy there. He's going to be the guy there for a long time, and he's one of the best players in the game.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more. I completely forgot him off my
So
list.
did I.
But now Chris Bryant.
That's unfortunate.
Chris Bryant.
You're an honorable
Probably the
mention
top
on
third
my list.
baseman. Probably top third baseman in the league.
I mean, yeah, probably.
So young
There's
still.
a lot of third basemen, a lot of good third basemen.
No, seriously. Arenado, Machado, Donaldson,
Yeah.
Bryant.
Pablo.
He's getting there.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, I got
Alex Bregman.
a little surprise at number 5 coming up. Little Bryce Harper coming up at
Did
number
not
5.
make my list, but can see why he would be on anyone's top
5'2"
10 list for
player.
Sure. The hype is there.
Easily one of the top 5 players in the.
He might be a little overrated at this point. I think he's 24 now. He's been in the league for
Tough year.
5 years.
Tough year last year.
Obviously tough year. He's battled injuries every year except last year when we saw what he can do when he does stay healthy. He won MVP last year, had one of the all-time greatest seasons ever.
True.
But with all the injuries at this point, he's had 4 injury-plagued seasons. I don't know. We're beyond just hype. He's established himself as, is this the type of guy he's going to be for his whole career?
Well, I mean, I think that
That remains to be seen. He's still young, but
true.
But
I think now we know who answers the Mike Trout versus Bryce Harper debate.
Oh, for sure.
Not even close.
For sure. At number 5, you gave your 5, right?
No, I haven't given my 5.
I apologize.
At number 5, I have Nolan Arenado. I was going back and forth on this, but you can't penalize a guy. I mean, I was thinking about it, but it's kind of like you talk about the Patriots. A lot of people are saying, well, they only play bad teams. I mean, you can only play what's on your schedule. You can only play where you play. So I'm not going to penalize it. Who knows? It's very speculative to say, well, if he played in any other park, he wouldn't be as good, but that's not where he plays. He plays for the Rockies, he plays in Coors Field, and he puts up monster numbers. And he's an excellent third baseman, so you can't look past his defense.
That's a good point. I think that goes overshadowed.
If you look at his home road splits, he has the same road numbers. He averages the same road numbers that perennial MVP candidates in the league do at their home parks that when they don't play at Coors Field. So that tells you something. He at home, obviously his numbers are a little inflated, but so are those other MVP candidates when they go to Coors. So like Joe said, you can't penalize a guy for that. He's a great player, and I think he should be on every top 10 list. Number 5, I have Jose Altuve. I think he's a little better than you guys made him out to be, although putting him at 6 definitely does him justice, but I think he's number 5. Being a top 5 guy means you can do it all, and that's what Jose Altuve does, despite his short stature, infamously. And yeah, he's one of the best players in the game.
Don't get me wrong here. I'm not throwing shade at Jose Altuve.
Oh, no, I know. But
I just think that he's kind of sheltered in that lineup, just like Mookie Betts is.
Yeah, I mean, that's a young lineup. And George Springer, I mean, he's a very good player, but he's, people thought he was going to be a Mike Trout type, and he's not. Alex Bregman remains to be seen what he can become, but he looks great.
Correa.
Obviously, Correa had a down year, but young, amazing player. Very good offense. Altuve is the focal point of that.
What is he about, 4th in that lineup?
No, I think he either bats leadoff or second. I think Correa might be leadoff. No, Correa.
No, I thought Springer was
Altuve bats second. I mean first. I think Altuve leads off.
I thought they moved him to 4th.
Well, I have Arenado splits up right here. He hit 25 home runs at Coors to 16 on the road, but his OPS at home was over 1,000. Where at it was 832 on the road, which is still very good. Batted 277 on the road to 312. But I think the RBI.
What was his road batting average?
277.
Yeah,
but
the guy
he led the league in RBI, and he had 85 at home to 48 on the road. Same amount of at bats. So
that's a strong.
That's also a product of RBIs is the guys ahead of you who set the table, and if those guys are playing at Coors in those games LeMahieu also, they obviously got on base. LeMahieu won the batting title. Blackman, Cargo. I mean, Cargo's not a leader.
LeMahieu's a kid that's up and coming. That kid's gonna be a good player.
I love LeMahieu.
He's your typical kind of average hitter.
Did not love how he won the batting title this year, taken it away from Dan Murphy by Walt Weiss, his manager, who got fired. Benching him the last couple games of the season, but very good player. Can run.
So, Del, who you got at 5?
I already said Bryce Harper at 5.
Oh.
5-2 player.
All right, so now we're on to 4.
MVP 2017.
We're on 4. I got Manny Machado. Very similar to Arenado. It's just I have to give him a slight advantage considering he plays in the AL.
And he can run.
Not in Coors.
And he can run.
Yeah, I don't think he had a stolen base this year, though.
Arenado? Just one? Just one stolen base?
No, Manny Machado.
What do you mean?
Did Manny Machado steal any bases this
I thought
year?
he went 20.
I don't think he had 20, but
I thought he went 30 and 20.
No.
That might have been last year. I know.
I think last year he had like 16 maybe.
I'm telling you, I think he might have only had like 1 or 2.
Yeah, Manny's not that prolific of a runner.
Manny Machado had 0 stolen bases last year.
Wow.
So.
And the year before?
Year before that he had 20. So
yeah, so
that's what I was thinking of.
But still,
he put on the power this year. What are his home run totals the last 3 years?
The last 2 years is when he played mostly. 35 and 15, 37 and 16. But definitely a very great all-around player.
Yeah, one of the best.
Yeah,
no, definitely.
He is an MVP.
Only 24 years old.
Yeah, he and Harper both are going to be in that mega free agent class at the end of 2018.
That are all going to go to the Yankees.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they'll be able to afford one of them. Hopefully Machado. Headley will be off the books at that point. Well, my number 4, I have Clayton Kershaw, my only pitcher on the list. Not enough can be said about him.
No.
Really He's the only pitcher on this list for a reason, and that's pretty much all there is to say. I mean, the guy's incredible. on his way to being perhaps, if his back holds up, one of the top 5 pitchers of all time.
It's true. I got Paul Goldschmidt at 4, first base extraordinaire. Real definition of a 5-tool player here. Him and Chart, I'd say, are the 2 best overall players in the MLB right now. Goldschmidt runs. He can hit for power, hit for average. He fields like no first baseman I've ever seen field.
Can't agree more. I have Paul Goldschmidt at 3. Funny, it's unbelievable because you think I know Paul Goldschmidt has speed, but I was thinking, I don't know, maybe.
I believe he had 32 stolen bases.
I have it right at
Did he go 30-30? Or did he go like 29 and 32?
24 homers. And it was a down year in terms of power, but 411 OBP. Can't say enough about the guy. And when I was thinking, all right, he has speed, kind of like a Joey Votto mold, maybe a little faster.
Had
15, I was expecting.
Yeah, that's what he usually had, and then he went off this year. Yeah. It was like Anthony Rizzo last year. Anthony Rizzo last year had 17 stolen bases. Not 2016. I believe 2015. He had 17 stolen bases.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. And it was Goldschmidt had that kind of speed, which is weird because he's kind of he's a muscular guy.
He's a big dude.
He's not he's not like a David Ortiz big dude. He's just a big, muscular guy. He's a big first baseman. He's a power hitter. And
he gets overlooked.
He has that speed. And he had 32 stolen bases this year. Like, what the, where did that come from?
He had 20 last year.
And I read an article, I think it was on Fangraphs or something, by someone like Jeff Sullivan, I think. And he talked about Goldschmidt's speed. It's not so much like in a foot race, he would not be able to beat a Mookie Betts, Altuve type player. Right. But on the base paths, the guy knows how to run. You don't have to be fast to be quick. There's a difference.
That's a good point.
I think has something like the fastest reaction time off a pitcher's first move when going to second. So the guy just runs on.
The guy knows
players.
the game.
He's one of the smartest players there is.
He's a student of the game.
All right. You have him at number 3. I have Machado at my number 3. I think he's that good.
I also have Machado at my number 3. Perennial MVP candidate this year.
All right, let's speed this up a little bit. I have Kershaw at 2.
Same.
I've got Goldschmidt there at 2.
All right. No need to get in depth. We already talked about him. Great guys. And then 1, we got Mike Trout, best player in baseball.
Unanimously, not even close.
Yep. Him and Goldschmidt.
Not
best
even
players
close.
In the game.
So we'll move on to our next segment, which is the winners and losers of the MLB offseason. Who wants to go first?
All right, I'll take it. Biggest winner of the offseason, by far, the Chicago White Sox. Not even close. Stocked up on prospects.
Agreed.
I agree 100%. You look at what they got. For Sale, you knew they were going to get that.
Yeah.
He's the best pitcher in the American League. Exactly. Moncada, Kopech,
Basabe,
and then who is
Basabe was just on Jonathan Mayo's list today of number 1 prospect to watch in his surge next year. He thinks he's going to have a breakout year.
And who was the 4th guy they gave? Well, those are the 3 guys.
I think the Sox might have given up less than the Nationals gave up when they got eaten.
Yeah, the Nationals gave up
no,
pretty much the same.
Moncada is a huge prospect. There's no other prospect like him. That said, he's one guy, and I don't think just 2 elite prospects like him and Kopech. I'm not a huge Kopech guy. I think they got a way better deal than the Nationals did for Eaton.
It was pretty much the same
Chris
deal.
Sale's an incredible pitcher on a team-friendly contract, only 27 years old, under control for
might be the best contract anyone's ever had. But what the Red Sox are giving him.
One thing I will say, the money they are eating for Moncada, because they spend $62 million.
That is a lot of money.
What are they eating, half of it?
No, they're eating all of it. Because it was $31 million, and then they were in 100% luxury tax on international signings. It was $62 million, and they're eating all of it.
That's going to be an issue.
So,
I mean, for Chris Sale,
it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's more for the pitcher and less for the
Red Sox have
contract.
a young core already. Moncada, he kind of fits into that mold, but they have a solid group now, and Chris Sale's the guy they needed right now, not Yohan Moncada. So
the thing that I worry about Sale with is that he's never pitched in the postseason.
I will cross that bridge when we
He
get
doesn't
to it.
know. He doesn't know the atmosphere.
Clayton Kershaw is the best pitcher in the game, and he has terrible postseason numbers. I mean, I'm not saying Chris Sale is going to have terrible postseason numbers. I'm not saying he's going to have great postseason numbers, but you can't know until he's there. I'm just saying nothing's a given like Kershaw, so it is something to be mindful of.
I agree. And biggest loser, I'm not going to go with a team. I'm going to go with a player, and it's Jose Bautista. Yeah, that guy valued himself at what? 5 years, 150 million, and
I'll say two losers. That's a good call. I will say sluggers in general. Him, Encarnacion, Napoli, their market's completely tanked.
Trumbo, Chris Carter. Chris Carter
Napoli.
Has Trumbo even signed yet?
No.
Him, Napoli, Bautista,
Chris Carter.
None of them have signed.
Encarnacion.
Encarnacion signed, obviously.
It baffles
his
me
market
that,
fell.
It baffles me that Mitch Moreland has signed.
I'll say
And
for
none
a
of them have
team, I'd say the biggest loser for a team so far, it could change, is the Pirates. There was so much talk of them making trades, trying to free up some payroll, still remain competitive. I know Pirates fans love him, but Andrew McCutchen is a guy they need to trade. He's almost 31. He's got 1 year left guaranteed on his contract. He had a terrible year.
Awful.
Not to mention he's very upset with the organization, so that just makes things even worse.
But he does want to stay. He has expressed how he wants to stay, but he's obviously frustrated with the way things are going. They're not winning anymore. They didn't make the playoffs this year. He wants to win, and I think if he wanted to get out of that town, I think no one could blame him. But the Pirates not making a move to trade him, and now that they're interested in Quintana, they're trying to contend, but they didn't do anything, so I think they're the biggest losers.
Not to mention the fact that Jung Ho Gang was arrested on DUI charges over in Korea.
He was, and he's also been arrested for sexual assault.
Upstanding citizen.
That guy's yeah, exactly.
Upstanding. The only bright spot on that team might be Starling Marte.
Yeah.
No, there are a lot of bright. Their farm system is great. They have got young pitching. They really need rotation help though because they've got too much young pitching. You don't know what you're gonna get. Tyon's an injury risk. Glasnow's an injury risk. Garrett Cole,
serious injury risk right there.
And they got like Chad Kuhl. They're very young rotation.
Cool. All right, another winner I have this offseason, Atlanta Braves. I love what they've done this offseason. Yeah, people are gonna say, oh, they brought in the senior squad, Bartolo, R.A. Dickey, Jaime Garcia. I love that acquisition. And then re-signing Ender Inciarte, giving him an extension. Long worth it. Well worth it. He's a solid player. He's going to be a cornerstone of that franchise with Freddie Freeman.
I respect your opinion, but I am not that big on the Braves this offseason. I think what they did was sign a bunch of stopgaps. They're transitioning to a new stadium next year, and they just want to bring fans to the stadium. So I see what they're doing, but
you got to bring Big Sexy.
Yeah, you know he's going to get some fans.
I'm not saying the team's going to be like a World Series candidate.
Team's a little bit of, they're a ways away from being true contenders. They got
Dansby
Swanson. They got a franchise player, Dansby Swanson. That kid is amazing.
Freddie Freeman's still good.
Yep. Freddie Freeman's a great player also. They got two studs, but
they still have Markakis patrolling right field.
He's awful.
Which I like. Oh, he had a nice year last year.
He's very bad.
He's fine. He's not going to solve your problems. Doesn't suck.
That's true. He's not terrible. Not good. Not terrible.
So now,
it's not what you want.
Here's a little segment that I thought of, and I think it's pretty relevant, considering how the Red Sox traded away the number one overall prospect, according to consensus number one overall prospect, to look back at number one overall position players and see whether these guys are worth it and how well they've fared. So I have Baseball America's list since 1990. We're only going to do positional players because you can't comparing pitchers to positional players especially when it comes to prospects is like apples and oranges. So just looking at this list, it's very impressive. So we'll go in reverse order since 1990, which is when Baseball America started its list. So if we go first positional player, mostly pitchers. Let's get this. Okay, Chipper Jones. Would you say that guy panned out?
Absolutely. He's going to be a Hall
say
of
so.
Famer. Huge part of the 96 World Series team. They lost to the Yankees, but still.
Cliff Floyd back in 1994.
Yeah, he was a good player in his day. I think younger people don't remember the early days of his career. Yeah, he was around a long time. That's another thing. Do you measure these players? Do you measure their success from longevity or overall performance? I mean, if the guy's not a perennial All-Star, are we going to say that he was a bust?
If he's not a perennial All-Star, I'm saying. I mean, you look at his career numbers: 278 average, 358 OBP, 482 slugging percentage. So he's well over 800 OPS for his career. So
Cliff Floyd was a pretty good player.
Yeah,
does a great job on MLB Network.
1995 number one overall prospect. I think he's pretty good. Alex Rodriguez.
Yes, he was okay.
Yeah. So this just gives you an idea of the pedigree of these players. Andrew Jones was number 1 overall the next year in 96.
Another solid player.
10-time Gold Glover. If he didn't eat his way out of the league, he would have been a Hall of Famer.
Good point.
Over 400 home
He didn't
runs.
eat his way out of the league. He hit women his way out of the league.
Maybe
Sounds-
both.
Probably both.
And then you got Andrew Jones again. He was number 1 overall 2 years in a row.
Him and Chipper Jones, the two Joneses on that
Both on
Atlanta team.
That team was nice.
How about
Their
Ben Grieve?
rotation. Ben Grieve,
Yeah.
bust.
Total bust.
I could have sworn he was an all-star 1 year.
1 year.
You're thinking of Ben Sheets?
Ben
No,
Sheets was sick.
I could have. I think he was an all-star. One year in his career. He actually wasn't bad.
Didn't he have a short career?
He was a rookie of the year. He was an all-star his rookie year. All-star and rookie of the year. Yeah.
Okay, that's 1 year.
And then he had 28 home runs and 27 the next year, and then he kind of fell off. But career 809 OBP, OPS. Oh, no, OBP, OPS.
I still wouldn't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't call it a boom.
I mean, we're comparing this guy Moncada to this guy. So if Moncada turned out to be Ben Grieve, I would say the Red Sox definitely would have the better end of the Chris Sale trade.
Definitely,
sure.
especially
That's
if they're
a good
able to re-sign Sale after the 3 years.
All right, so he's a bust. J.D. Drew, 1999.
Oh, that's a tough call. He was solid with the Dodgers.
If Moncada turned out to be J.D. Drew, how would you feel?
No, I mean, no one wants their legacy to be J.D. Drew.
J.D. Drew, I love J.D.
J.D. Drew was solid on the Dodgers.
Steven Drew, if we're done. Steven Drew, all-time Diamondbacks triples leader.
Wow.
No, just kidding.
All-time Red Sox hero.
Yeah, that grand slam
Yankees.
against Cleveland.
Walk-off grand slam against Baltimore as a Yankee. No, J.D. Drew, yeah, he was, serviceable again.
I'd consider him a boom rather than a bust if we're calling that.
I think J.D. Drew is one of the most underrated players. Very unappreciated, I would say, but definitely a very good player. Career 873 OPS. I mean,
That's not bad.
That's not bad
his 162 game averages are 25 home runs, 280 average, 385 OBP.
That's also because he was, like I said, he was much better in L.A. than he was in Boston.
And he wasn't bad in Boston when he was healthy. He hit at least 19 home runs out of his 5 years, 3 years. So I think he was definitely a success. I
I think
say.
you said it best. He was serviceable.
Oh, more than serviceable. I thought he was
Yeah.
very good. So next, this guy's a pitcher, but he was also a hitter. Rick Ankiel.
Rick Ankiel.
Yeah.
Hit 25 home runs. one
There's
year.
a book coming out. His biography is coming out. I forget
That's
who
a
he wrote
bust,
it with.
though.
Yeah, definitely a bust.
So much-
that's definition of a bust,
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
it?
He had 25 home
So
runs.
much
He
potential
turned
coming
into-
out.
but he was supposed to be,
The
he
next
was supposed
guy.
to be Greg Maddux.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the guy.
He was supposed to be a stud pitcher, and
And then
he
he
didn't.
just-
He failed.
yeah,
so
he
of course he's a
wasn't-
bust.
This next guy, when you come to the debate between production and longevity, because this guy I think was one of the best players in baseball, but obviously had a lot of trouble off the field. Josh Hamilton.
I'd consider that a boom.
Yeah,
honestly.
absolutely a boom, and I believe the Rangers are interested in re-signing him.
Yes, I saw that. Hopefully he can resurrect his career.
If he, when he's on, he's on.
I'll tell you what, his performance in the home run derby in 2008, never seen anything like it.
Didn't he
Yankee
lose that
Stadium.
year?
He lost it to Justin
Morneau.
Morneau. To Morneau, who was MVP that year? Or the
Morneau
year
was in
before?
06.
2 years ago.
Yeah, and then 2008 was Pedroia. That was his year. 17 home runs,
Right.
326
And Mauer
average.
and Morneau, did they go back? No, was Mauer 09?
Mauer was 09.
Yeah.
Okay. So Morneau was
They were
06,
very,
Mauer was 09.
very close.
The
And then
M&M brothers.
Santana was the Cy Young in 06, and Morneau was the MVP that year.
Impressive.
Yeah. So 2003, we got Mark Teixeira.
Now, boom,
Boom.
if I've ever seen
Had
anything
a
like
very
that.
good career. 400 home runs as a switch hitter.
Walk-off home run against the then division champion Red Sox
Yeah.
this year
And then they celebrate with the...
against
Yeah.
Joe Kelly.
Thank you, Mark Teixeira, retired at the end of this year.
Joey Kittens.
I just want to say, December 23rd, 2008, worst day of my life. Red Sox.
canceled for me that year.
Christmas was I tweet it out every year. I was 8 years old. What was I, 8 or 9? It was 2008. I was 9 years old. My mom went to Whole Foods. I was sitting at
That was a long time ago.
I was.
Remember when they signed him.
I remember. It's like when you're traumatized and scarred for your life.
I was in the shower when that happened, actually.
I
remember that.
I had my mom's MacBook, and I was refresh. Red Sox offer 8 years, $168 million to Teixeira. They are the front runners.
I'm glad
then
that they didn't get him, though.
I'm not. Ugh. And then I see 8-year, $180 million, and it was his wife, Lee Teixeira. She wanted to go to New York.
Lee Teixeira.
Oh yeah.
And it was Cliff
That
Lee's
bitch.
wife who didn't want to go to New York.
Yeah, he went to Philly.
And so he went to Philly. Mark Teixeira, that offseason was great for the Yankees. They missed the playoffs for the first time in my lifetime, first time in 20 years.
Then they went 103 games.
They signed Mark Teixeira, they signed CeCe Sabathia, they signed AJ Burnett, and they go to the World Series. They knock off the defending champ Philadelphia Phillies. After that, Teixeira and the Yankees never won a World Series, but it makes it worth it, right? If you win 1 year, that makes it worth it.
I think that team had 7 or 8 guys with at least 20 home runs.
That team did. It was like him, A-Rod Cano,
Hideki Matsui,
Posada Matsui, Swisher.
If I'm not wrong, I think Jeter had like 18 homers.
Yeah.
And like
Jeter missed it by 1 or 2, yeah.
So that team
was an
a tank.
unbelievable team.
It was a wagon. The guy we mentioned earlier, Joe Mauer. Boomer
Boom.
bust.
Huge boom.
Huge boom. He sucks now, but huge boom.
Mauer was number 1 again in 2005. Now we got Delman Young, 2006.
Bust.
Anti-Semite woman beater.
I thought he was a decent player.
He was actually a 5-tool player for a couple years.
He was.
He was a good fantasy player, but overall he's got to be a bust. I mean,
and then 2007, not a positional player, he's a pitcher, but Daisuke Matsuzaka was a number 1 overall.
bust.
18 and 3 with a 2.90
Yeah, Joe disagrees
ERA.
on
Doesn't
this,
matter.
but
Huge
he's a
bust. It's still
Kidding
not
me?
in the
If
league
you end up on
now.
the Mets, you're a bust. Something went wrong with your career.
Now, I
Don't
think-
call Tim Tebow a bust.
I think this one's a good one right here because I think this guy's a fringe between a boom and a bust. Jay Bruce.
Oh, that's a tough call, actually.
If you okay,
I'll say this: he's 29. He's almost 30, so he still has some possibly good years left in him. He's been a bust as of very recently, but overall, he had very good numbers.
Well, look at the first half that he had with Cincinnati.
Yeah, he had a great
26
first
homers.
half.
basically, here's what I'm saying: if Yoan Moncada turned out to be Jay Bruce,
I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be upset at all.
if you were the White Sox, how would you feel? Yoan Moncada was Jay Bruce.
For what Moncada could do this year at the major league level, to see him develop to a guy who puts out Jay Bruce production, I mean that takes a lot of time. So if you become Jay Bruce, yeah, that's a big deal.
It's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't go home crying if Yoan Moncada became Jay Bruce.
Bruce is an all-star.
Yeah.
Bruce is an all-star. If you're saying Moncada becomes an all-star, it's a bust.
Here's another
No.
guy, and I think that this is another good debate. Matt Wieters,
I call it a bust. He's so injury prone.
three-time All-Star though.
I'll say boom.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, him and Bryce Harper and Wieters were the 2 most hyped prospects. Do you remember how hyped Wieters was when he came up?
Yes.
As a 16-year-old, just like Harper, on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was in high school, they were the most hyped, and he was kind of a bust for a long time, but it was frustration. It's hard to be a catcher in the majors in the AL East.
Look at
You had to
last
carry
year.
that team. That team was bad for a long time.
Look at last year. Would you call him a bust last year?
Yeah, but it's hard to judge catchers. So
Are you calling Christian Vasquez a bust?
he hasn't done not yet. 2010.
I am.
Jason Hayward, boomer bust.
bust.
Boom.
Boom.
Huge boom.
So bad. He is completely broken and cannot be fixed. He is the worst hitter in the National League. He is the worst hitter in the National League.
All I'm saying is, if you're a guy, and I know he didn't deserve it, but gets $184 million, I'm sorry.
Hey, I'll say he was a boom for this reason and this reason only. He was traded to the Cardinals for Shelby Miller, who was then traded to the Diamondbacks for Dansby Swanson.
Yeah.
Okay?
So it's basically Jason Hayward for Dansby Swanson.
Yeah, that is a thank you, Jason Hayward. Thank you.
Yeah.
So now this guy, I think we can all agree, is a boom. These 2 guys, they were number 1 and 2. Bryce Harper, Mike Trout.
Yeah, both booms.
Booms. No need to discuss. Bryce Harper was number 1 again. Then more recent, Jurickson Profar. Jury's still out, but
Jury's out, still 23 years old, but completely, one of the most
think he can
injured young
recover?
players.
I don't know yet.
He could recover. He doesn't really have a place on that team. He's in a lot of trade rumors.
I
like him.
I'd love to see him traded.
Yeah, I'd like to see him somewhere else too, see what he can do over the course of a full healthy season. But
Or they might
right
move
now
him
he's
to the
a little-
outfield.
right
I'd
now
like
he's a
to
little
see
bit
him
of
in the
a
outfield
bust.
too.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's too valuable to play the outfield, I think. But look what Desmond did. Desmond
That's what I was just thinking. Desmond signing.
Yeah, you never know. But right now he's a bust.
another guy who kind of underperformed his first with his first taste of the majors, Byron Buxton. Do you think he can
That's a
turn it
bust.
around?
That's a bust.
Can he turn it around?
I don't think
I
Buxton's
think
that
he can
good.
definitely turn it around. 22 years old. He's on a young team. Him, Sano, they got some good young players.
I think Sano's the next Adam Dunn.
One of the most athletic players in the league. He actually finished the season very strong. Byron Buxton did. I think he can turn it around if he stays healthy. Absolutely.
All right,
Good
now
player.
we'll move on to these next 2 guys. So we'll go one and then talk about this. I think this is pretty consensus. Chris Bryant.
Boom.
Boom.
If Yo Moncada turned out, I'd be kicking myself, no matter how good Chris Sale is. If we gave away the next Chris Bryant.
I have to agree with that.
And then next, I think a guy who's probably going to be better than Chris Bryant, Corey Seager.
Yep.
Huge boom already.
He's. I had him on my top 10 list originally. I took him off, just missed the cut. You know, I'd
take him over Lindor.
I might take him over Lindor, Cabrera at the bottom too. I'd probably put Seager there. Easily interchangeable, but yeah, he's one of the best young players.
5-tool player.
Yeah, rookie of the year, almost MVP. He's so good.
Definitely an MVP consideration.
So what we've learned, because considering the Red Sox now the number 1 overall prospect is Moncada, the Red Sox, if it's a 50-50 bet for positional players that they'll be great. I'd say there's a 75% chance they'll be at least a solid all-star player.
I think the reason why they kind of dealt him was because you kind of had Benintendi to fall back on.
Yeah, but totally different positions. I think it's the fact that we have Pedroia at second base, and that Moncada really didn't show that he could play third base at a high level.
I'm saying he's still relatively. I mean, he's young. I think he's not major league ready at the start of 2017. I think you start him in AAA, and you let him play third base, and you let him learn it. You know, if not, Pedroia is obviously on the decline, but the Sox aren't going to get rid of him now. He's still a very good player. And he is the face of that team right now. So maybe
that middle infield, if he comes up and plays second, him and Tim Beckham,
I would have
liked that.
I would have liked the Sox to keep. I would have liked to see their team with, left to right, Moncada, Bogarts, Pedroia, and then outfield Bradley, Betts, Benintendi. I think that would have been incredible.
You know what I would have done if I were the Red Sox? Is I would have dealt Jackie Bradley Jr.
I would have dealt them also.
I heard the White Sox really liked him, and they might have taken him over Moncada. Considering how well he played. 26 home runs, 272 average, maybe 268, I don't know. Right around 270, elite center fielder. If you look at his career numbers, I saw this thing. It's like since 1985.
He really tailed off, by the way. So
yeah. They took a thing of a player's first 162 games or first 500 plate appearances, whatever, and there was a sample of 1,572 players. Out of that number, 1,572. Jackie Bradley Jr. was 1,568th in batting average. He batted 196.
Without the streak.
Oh, this was before he had the streak. This was 2013-14.
Gotcha.
So, 196. Then you look in 2015, I believe he batted 249. You take out the month of August that year, he's right around 220. Last year, only month he batted above 300 was May. He had the 29-game hit streak. So, you take out 2 months of his career, and he's a career 220 hitter. You're not, and that's Kevin Kiermaier. That's like
Kevin Kiermaier.
and Pilar. That's pretty much what he is. With maybe a little bit more pop.
A stingy defensive center fielder with a little bit of pop.
And another thing I'm saying, I think that his value is higher than Adam Eaton. He's younger. He plays center field. Eaton plays right field. More pop. I think consensus higher value than Eaton. So if you want to kind of rebuild your farm system, I think Bradley would be a perfect guy to deal off.
I don't think Jackie Bradley's a top 15 player in the MLB like Adam Eaton is.
Adam Eaton is not a top 15 player.
I think he is.
So, okay.
15 or 50?
15. I think
No.
How was Adam Eaton a top 15
maybe
player
20,
in the MLB?
maybe 20.
No.
Look,
No.
in terms of WAR, I think he's averaged a 6 WAR the last 3 years. He's a very good player. He's underrated. No, because look, I criticized the trade a lot. I thought they gave up way too much for him. Washington did. He's a very good player, and they needed a piece like that. They got it.
I would have rather had McCutchen for half the price.
Yep.
Eaton, again, you got to remember, he's under control for a lot more than McCutchen, for a lot longer than McCutchen is. He's cheaper. He's younger.
What about Bradley? I think Bradley has more value.
I think Eaton's better.
I disagree. Plus, Bradley.
I
plays
just don't
center
think
field,
Bradley's
Eaton
that
plays
good.
right.
Bradley just is not an attractive player, I think.
They're gonna put.
I can't stand.
They're gonna put Eaton in center field this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a center fielder for sure.
Well, he played right in Chicago.
Yeah. Who'd Chicago have in center?
That's what I was just about to ask.
Let me check that out right now.
I could have swore it was Eaton.
No, so
I know they put him in right after Avisail Garcia was so bad they had to take him out of the lineup.
So
I like
because Melky played left.
Yeah.
Well,
who is their center fielder?
While I look this up, I just want to get you guys. What would you grade Dave Dombrowski? He's been here in Boston for, I don't know, what is it, 15, 16 months? Over his first year plus in Boston, how would you grade him?
I'll give him a B-. Is that fair?
The center fielder was J.B. Shuck.
Shuck. He's awful. Yeah, I'll give Nebraska a B-. I think he's made some trades that excite fans and make a splash. You got to do something to show that you're being competitive, and he's definitely done that. I mean, everyone's gone from the farm now, but pretty much. I mean, who's left? Devers and Groom are still there, right?
Groom's. I think that kid Groom's gonna be a big prospect.
Yeah, but besides that, so he drafted Groom, but
Also,
you get swept in the ALDS to a team that eventually goes to the World Series. I mean, that's not great. I mean, yeah, so I can't give Dombrowski anything higher than a B-. I might even give him a C, honestly.
I'm going B+. I mean, you come off Sherrington. Sherrington really was subpar as a GM.
I disagree. He drafted Benintendi. He signed Moncada.
I did not like what I do not like what Sherrington did. I thought Dombrowski kind of realized the way to improve the team and kind of jumped on the opportunity.
I mean, when they traded for Kimbrel,
they gave up a lot for Kimbrel.
They gave up Margot,
Renfro.
Guerra sucks now, by the way.
Aswahe and Logan Allen.
Yeah. Margot's going to be good, but Guerra is awful. So some prospects bust. So you got to trade them because you never know what's going to happen.
My grade for Dave Dombrowski is a D-.
Yeah.
I hate what he's done. I'm angry. Very frustrated.
Angry consumer.
Yeah. The Kimbrel trade at the time was fine, but then you look. I will say this, and I will take this to my grave. The Drew Pomeranz trade is the worst trade I have ever seen in my lifetime. Obviously, the Babe Ruth trade, but I'm talking of.
Did you see Espinosa's stats this year in Single A?
Well, okay. I came up with this projection. I thought of this because I've been looking into it. Drew Pomeranz is a left-handed Gavin Floyd. Gavin Floyd was the number 4 overall pick in his respective draft. Pomeranz was 5. They were both traded at a young age. They both are stiffs. They're tall and they suck. I
wouldn't say Pomeranz sucks.
Okay, they define mediocrity. And you know who Anderson Espinosa is going to be? Tim Lincecum. Same build, same electric stuff, but I think that
sucked in Single A.
I don't know Lincecum's Single A stats.
I know Espinosa's, and it's bad.
I know. I saw Drew Pomeranz.
A lot of pitchers suck in Single A.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was a terrible trade. So that alone. Then I wasn't a fan of the Thornburg trade.
I was. Got rid of Travis Shaw.
But Dubon, I don't know. When you don't
get me wrong, Dubon's a good prospect. I think he's going to be a good player. But Travis Shaw, speaking of defining mediocrity, Travis Shaw is mediocre.
I don't know. Thornburg with his arm issues. You saw what happened with Carson Smith. We gave up nothing. We gave up Wade Miley, who sucks. But you see how Carson Smith, he gets here and doesn't pitch. I think that could be a very similar situation with Thornburg.
Yeah, Dombrowski just doesn't seem to like prospects, I think.
At all. And I mean,
kind of blows it up.
He's been right but I don't know. I think this time he's given up way too much. I think I saw he's given up 11 from the time he got here. He's given up 11 of the team's top 20 prospects.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he also gave up. I know he gave a former first-round pick Pat Light for Fernando Abad.
That was a bad trade. I'll give you that one. That's a bad trade.
It's just here and there. Honestly, I would have rather kept Espinosa and maybe dealt him because you had your 3 prospects and the young guys Kopech, Espinosa, and then they drafted Groom. Trade one of them, but
Kopech's a solid player.
I would have rather waited and not dealt for Pomeranz and dealt for Sale and still have say, all right, you can either have an Espinosa or Kopech, but I'm not giving them away. So that's what I think.
Do you think the Sox are done this offseason?
So they're looking at Trevor Plouffe. Solid player, but he's a role player.
Can play third base too.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason why they're looking at him. They don't know what Sandoval's going to
exactly,
produce.
some insurance for Pablo Sandoval. I don't know. I still think they could bring in Jose Bautista. If his value gets so low.
I think so too.
I think look into trade. The Giants supposedly are interested in bringing Sandoval back. Why not? If you're the Red Sox, you ship him out.
What are you going to get for him?
Who cares? Who cares?
How much money do you think they'll eat? They're not going to eat the whole thing.
The Sox or the Giants?
Giants. How much of the 19 million?
I mean,
3 years at 19 million per. How much do you think the?
Oh, they should. I mean, they should take at least half of that.
Oh, I don't think they will. His value's so low.
I don't see how they make a deal for him.
He lost a lot of weight. Everyone's saying, every scout that has seen him this offseason.
He lost a lot of weight last year, but you realize he's the type of guy who's like, if you leave him alone for 2 weeks, he'll put it all back on.
I agree.
I think I've heard he's rededicated himself.
I don't know. I think he might be pretty good this year.
Here's the type of thing.
You need to give him a year.
He kind of reminds me, obviously, like totally different guys, but of Clay Buchholz in the sense where I think Clay Buchholz is going to have a resurgent year with the Phillies.
Oh my God!
I really
give me
do.
a break.
I think that he'll.
I think the Phillies aren't going to be as bad as people think, but I don't think he's going to be part of their
Here's my prediction for Clay Buchholz, and I said this last week on the Game Time Decision podcast. Clay Buchholz will pitch 150 or more innings and have an ERA under 3.5. That's my prediction. So very, very solid numbers. And he'll have an opportunity. I describe Clay Buchholz as the most consistently inconsistent pitcher because every year of his career he's pretty much given us 2 great years, 2 great months, 2 bad months, 2 bad months. I apologize for the swear word. 2 bad months and then 2 months on the DL. That's what Clay Buchholz is. And
the way is he going to pitch in the rotation? Hellickson's your 1, Velasquez is your 2.
He could be your 3 or 4 starter.
Nolo and healthy. Got they just got a very young rotation. So they needed a veteran.
He'll get his innings. He'll pitch 150 innings or more and have an ERA sub 3.5.
Sure.
And here's another take I have on the Red Sox.
That's tough.
Here's another take I have on the Red Sox. They will not be as good in 2017 as they were in 2016.
I agree with that.
The Yankees will have a losing record.
I agree with that.
I think you'll see major regressions from Jackie Bradley Jr.
I don't think you'll see major.
Dustin Pedroia is not going to give you 150 games played at.
Losing Ortiz is huge.
Yeah,
that's why I think they still should have gone after Encarnacion.
Well,
I don't see why the Sox couldn't give him 3 for 60.
I don't know. But honestly, I think you're not going to get 30 home runs and 320 average and out of bats. You might get 25 and 290. You're not going.
No, I could see him replicating.
You're not getting 26 home runs and a 270 average from Jackie Bradley.
That's true. You're also not going to get
30
home runs from Hanley.
Yeah, you're not going to get 30 and 110 from Hanley. You flat out lost 37 and 127.
I see some Betts regression as well. I think Xander Bogaerts is the best player on the Red Sox.
I think Chris Sale is, but
I think he's the most important. Okay, in terms of, I think he's the most important player. He plays a premier position. He's just underrated, I think. I've loved Bogaerts for a long time, and don't
get me wrong, he's a top 5 shortstop.
Yeah, just this whole wave of young shortstops rising through the MLB right now.
Correa,
he's
Lindor,
one of the big
Bogaerts,
parts of it.
Seager,
Trey Turner.
Yeah,
it's incredible, and yeah.
And in terms of the rotation, I expect a regression from Porcello. He's not going to win the Cy Young, but I think he can still give you 17, 18 wins with the 3.5 ERA.
They've got a phenomenal rotation.
And whatever you lose in Porcello, I think Price will make up in terms of.
I kind of see the rotation as kind of like the Phillies from a couple years ago. Halladay, Lee, Hamels,
Oswald, Vance Worley went 11-3.
Blanton,
Joe Blanton.
I kind of want the Sox to pick up Joe Blanton.
Yeah,
we need a bullpen arm.
He's very he's good. His market's heating up.
I am so angry the Sox let go of Brad Ziegler. I don't.
Are you upset they let up a Junichi Tazawa?
No,
good.
I'm
Koji.
Yeah, I'm distraught about Brad Ziegler. That guy. I know he doesn't throw harder than 83 miles an hour, but the guy always gives you 60 innings. In his worst year, I think was a 3.4 ERA.
He's a ground ball machine.
Why not? I would have rather kept Dubon.
What about Joe Smith?
Ziegler. Joe Smith, I don't know.
He's basically a younger Brad Ziegler.
Yeah, but don't forget we have Carson Smith coming back. We traded for Thornburg, so
but
if we weren't going to bring back,
what you're going to get out of Carson Smith?
I don't know, but I think Joe Kelly's going to be in the bullpen. I still have a lot of faith in them. So I think our bullpen set. If we weren't going to retain Ziegler, Koji, or Tazawa, I don't think we're going to go. And
I think we had in our mind that we were going to let go to Tazawa regardless.
Yes,
Tazawa sucks. Pitching in Toronto is like the end all be all for him. He's like a 9 ERA.
Yeah,
in like 24 innings up there. It's awful. But I don't think we're done. I think we pick up one of the 3: Greg Holland, Joe Blanton, or Joe Smith.
Holland would be a good pickup.
I'd like that. Coming off Tommy John, though, worries me a little bit. Having 2 relievers come off Tommy John within a year.
Yeah. I don't know, but Tommy John seems to work wonders for guys. Look at John Lackey. He resurrected his career. So, right. Any final thoughts?
Watch out for the Blue Jays.
Watch out for the Blue Jays.
Yankees suck.
Yankees suck.
Except their farm system. Love what Cashman did last year. Love what he's continued to do this offseason.
Yankees going to trade for Mike Trout. But in 2019, the Yankees will have 2 of these 3 guys. Manny Machado, Bryce Harper, Mike Trout.
I agree.
2 or 3.
I agree.
2 of those 3.
I don't think Trout's tradable.
No, I think he is.
I think he is.
No, I don't think anyone has enough to get him.
Everyone's tradable.
Yeah.
For the right price.
You're telling me that if the
There's
Yankees
no
offer
price.
up Gary Sanchez,
Clint Frazier.
Clint Frazier.
I'm talking reasonably. If the Yankees gave up everyone they have on their team, obviously
If they gave up 4 guys, Gary.
he's not tradable.
No, I don't think they give up Gary.
Gary.
They're not trading Gary Sanchez.
I think they'd give up.
They just traded Brian McCann. They're never going to trade Gary Sanchez.
I think they give up Frazier.
They don't want to trade Frazier or Torres. Obviously, if it's Mike Trout, you trade
You have
anyone in
to.
your farm, so they would do it in a heartbeat. But they're not going to do it. The Angels will never trade Mike Trout. He's
And then
I
untradeable.
guarantee you they would.
And they'll
No,
wallow in mediocrity.
they'll
Or lower than mediocrity.
Of course they
They're
will.
not going to suck forever. If they're really bad the last year of his contract, the last year that they control him, then they'll trade him at the deadline. Of course.
Baseball's not basketball. Baseball isn't a sport where you have one LeBron James, one Kevin Durant, one Russell Westbrook, and you're automatically in contention to at least make the playoffs. Baseball, you're only one of 9 guys on the field. I don't care if you're Mike Trout, one
You
of the
can't
best
win a
players
game.
of all time. You're not going to win with having one great player and an aging Albert Pujols making $25 a year and Jerry
David
Wheat-
Freese.
Yeah, David.
You can't trade. If you trade Mike
Cole
Trout,
Calhoun.
if you trade a generational player like Mike Trout, he's this generation's Babe Ruth. He is.
He is.
And
I
if
agree.
you trade him, look how it turned out for the Red Sox. The
We
Angels
sold
fan
him.
base will collapse. Baseball in
fan
Los
base has already
Angeles
collapsed.
will
They're not
collapse.
trading Mike Trout for $100,000 to fund a play. They'd be trading him for Clint Frazier, Gleyber Torres.
Not going to
maybe
do
Gary
it. Who's going to
Sanchez.
be on that team? Did you see their lineup throughout the year
Mateo.
last year? Their lineup was so bad. There was no one on there that you
That's-
recognize
that's
except
why
him
you-
and Pujols.
And Simmons.
That's why you restock it. That's why you get a Torres, Frazier.
No, you can't do it right now.
Gary
You
Sanchez
can't-
would have to be part of that
You
trade.
can't do it right now. It just doesn't work right now. You
No,
can't trade Mike
They
Trout.
can't include Gary Sanchez in that trade.
I-
Gary Sanchez winning an AL MVP in 3 years.
Ooh,
That's bold.
all right. So
Wait, that kid's a generation talent.
thanks
He might
guys.
be the best catcher in the league right now.
Maybe. Thanks guys a lot for coming on.
Thanks
Little
for having us,
baseball
Joe.
special on the Game Time Sports Network. We will be here in the next coming days. We might be having a special guest from Barstool Sports on, so stay tuned for that. And have a happy New Year.
I'll
Thank
just
you.
predict again. Indians Cubs 2017 World Series rematch.
No way.
Yep.